And does that go in the owner's file?
That goes in the tenant file with the copy to the owner file. Yeah, so
Okay.
the original, the owner will keep the original. But we need two people to sign as witnesses. So Alan, you could sign. And then I can't sign it on a
Do you have a
notarized.
pen over there? What am I signing as a witness?
As a witness, yeah.
You know, it's funny because they had a access to this. It was coordinated with the applications and everything. This is awesome. It's all.
How you doing, Michael? Good to see you. I was traveling, yes.
Yes, everyone is here, 6 p.m. on the dot. They call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock on the dot. 6 times the charm. We have full board present. Good to see you all. Members from community, good to see you. So we do have a quorum. Approval of minutes that Alfredo sent to us before.
Yes.
Approved. Second, yes, approved. Approved.
Definitely.
So you made it.
And tomorrow we need to see it uploaded and available, right, Tiffany?
Correct, that's fine. And then also the email you sent in regards to putting it inside a specific file, the 2022 meeting minutes, 2024. I don't have access to that file. I can see the categories.
Somebody did it for us.
Yeah, so
And
I have to just get access to that and then I can upload those.
so give you the access.
Orlando's the one that has that access on his William side, so I can get that transferred to my account and then I can upload those for you. Just those 3 into that folder, correct? That's what you want to do. Now it'll be 4, correct? Yeah, so,
It's because
yeah,
the unit owners are completely misleading with the information, so we need to have all the information related to 2024 in one place.
yeah. Yeah, I see that they're there in the top 3 uploads, but they're not in the file that you wanted in.
Very good. And to Alfredo's point, that is important because if homeowners don't see minutes, they can be thinking anything about what us as a board are doing. And so it's important that we have that instantaneous and transparent perspective on things we discussed and agreed upon. So I back Alfredo's urgent request to get that up. Move to the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Robert, and back to all. I'll try to be as brief as possible. So in terms of pending items, I kept the same ones that we are regarding Becker and 911 restoration. And so in terms of Becker, we need a full explanation on that statement, the several weeks have passed. And we have no full explanation of what are those numbers, why they're only transferring 1.8. And also that will be critical to understand the status of units 2.
Correct, yeah, that's what's holding up the estoppel right now on unit 2.
Yeah.
Right, do you have a direct contact at Becker? Because
The last time we talked with you with Orlando said he had a direct contact with David Rogel and that he was going to contact David Rogel. I don't have.
Yeah, I don't know if he did that.
contact with David.
I don't know if he contacted him or not. I know I have on a daily basis, twice a day, been trying to contact. His name is Alan and he's the accountant and he's the main one we need to speak to.
Yeah, so I will then propose by the end of the meeting, I have a proposal for this situation and so, okay. And this is regarding the statement we received from Becker with payments of unit 2, but we need to understand what happened in those payments to understand exactly what is the status of unit 2, so that is clear. And from my understanding, the statement that Becker is sending is not clear, not on your side, but on the side of Becker. So Becker has a huge explanation to do there.
Do you want me to call Orlando to find out if he,
Yes, please.
Orlando, you want me to call?
Okay, perfect. I will continue, but
Okay.
that's perfect. Then, when we are talking about 911 restoration, we are still pending his, and there's a recommendation by the fan. The validate status on the checks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good, hold on.
okay.
All right, hold on. I'm putting you on speaker.
So, hello, Orlando.
Can you hear Joel?
How are you? Orlando? Hello, how are you? We were talking about the explanations we asked for the office of Becker to understand the statement they sent us, to understand what is the situation in the past and in the present regarding units 2.
The information. So, if you ever get, pretty that to the statement on that and see, figure out why they charge the money.
Yeah, but the statements don't explain
The
why.
statement doesn't explain, and right now, let me tell that this HOA board is concerned about the units 2, not about ever paying more than it should. That is the main concern I see there. So we need to get clarity on that, and my recommendation, I can say it right now, is to send this statement to our current attorney to understand exactly what was done regarding the units in the past.
David first,
Okay,
before you let money out of the rate, and I can work it out with David, find out what.
perfect. It needs to be a full explanation of the values and all the balance that we see in statement 2. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Do we agree that we all want to?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, I don't see the check of the $25 in the bank account. Remember the $25? I don't know if it was already deposited or not. For me,
I'll check because I know I gave it to the headquarters, so either they have it there and have it deposited,
okay,
yeah.
perfect. And for me, it's very hard to conciliate between
Yeah.
William and Valley, but at least this. The other thing is regarding the units that pay in advance, one of them is you. I don't see the check still there. Did you already receive the checks of these units?
For which one?
Yes.
Yes, we received the checks, yeah.
When are they gonna be deposited?
The first one, I have not received the other 2 that he sent. I've only seen
Because
received,
those checks were already sent the second time a long
Yeah.
time ago, so.
he's sending it to the PO box or to, I know he's sending it to the PO box, yeah, so
Okay.
that PO box is, the headquarters is the one who sends somebody to go check that, so I can ask them if they have those checks. Cause showed me pictures, so I know,
Okay, yes.
I know that they're there, so I don't know if they've been picked
And
up
when I
and
do the
deposited.
calculations, I see a mismatch between Valley Bank and Billion in terms of accountability, and I think part of that has to do with all this money that's still being entered in Valley Bank.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. And the other thing that is very important for everyone to understand is that when each one of our neighbors pays everything that until the end, if we don't pay this to Valley Bank, then Valley Bank continues to charge interests that are not going to obviously be paid by you, it's going to be paid by the other neighbors. So at the end of the day, we need to pay back to Valley Bank as soon as possible. So we need that money to enter in Valley Bank and then to be paid to the bank as soon as possible to reduce the amount of the.
I do know that all the accounts have been reconciled except for the operating account, and the reason why the operating account has not been reconciled is because there's a $9,000 difference. Because there was a $9,000 deposit made to Valley Bank that is not reflecting in Buildium. So we submitted a service ticket for that to explain why that $9,000 is not showing up in Buildium, which could be another reason why the balances are off.
Okay.
But there is a $9,000 deposit that was made in Valley Bank. And I think Sherry had said that she thinks it was due to 2 reverse payments from Dibbler Fontaine. It's unit 28, 29.
But the value doesn't, okay, that would be very strange because the value is much bigger than what would ever happen in units 29.
We're finding out, we'll find out because Buildium, we already submitted a service ticket for that,
What
so.
I'm trying to do is by the end of the month, and I'm not saying that I'm an auditor, I'm not an auditor, I'm trying to check with the Valley Bank and Buildium if the numbers make sense. We receive almost $30,000 in maintenance fees, but we receive then people that are paying almost the entire year with maintenance fees,
Mhm.
like some of our neighbors, and some people are now starting to pay the special assessments. So at the end of the day, we need to check if the balances are matching. So that would be very important to know about the checks of our neighbor, to have it deposited, and then whenever we have it there, we need to pay ASAP to Valley Bank. The deltas, not the money we receive from the maintenance fee, because that money is already calculated on 6,900 that every month we pay to Valley Bank. So when each one of us pays their amount multiplied by 41, that is the 6.9 that we pay to Valley Bank. And whoever pays more, that delta, that difference needs to go to Valley Bank.
By the way, on that, when we create, like I created a new recurring payment for the assessment in building. So that is obviously separate from my normal
Correct.
dues,
It'll
correct?
be two separate, recurring payments.
So in the building, it's divided and you see clearly like, what goes for
We
value,
don't-
what
We
goes.
don't see it yet.
That's what I would
separated.
do, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there was a cost associated, and we decided to postpone this decision, so right now, it's gonna be by the value that people are, for example, mine is 688, and then the special assessment 170, or something around there. And by these values, we wanna know, and because everybody.
But is it one payment of 688 plus 170? Two payments separate?
payments.
Okay, all right, so that way it's easier to follow.
That's correct, yeah.
That's what I thought too, okay.
Okay, so we need to check the checks of the neighbors and also the $25 to understand where it is. Then the other point that is spending right off the petty cash. So we continue with this, and we continue obviously with the cost not being allocated to that debt from Alberto. The board already spoke. We need to write off the petty cash. This has been the last 2 or 3 years. I don't know how long we've been with 200 ghost petty cash. And we need also to calculate now, more to inform. We are now starting on the 1st of March, the payment of the special assessment. So the communication was done, all the unit owners was communicated. We have 1 bedroom, 109.96, 2 bedrooms, 167.06, and then 3 bedrooms, 178.04. This is only the special assessment regarding building 1, building 2, and building 3. There will be another special assessment for building 1, 4, and Clubhouse. And this is starting on March. Communications have been done. Thank you so much. So this was one of the things. Then we assess all the arrears, and finally we had a clear picture of everybody that is in arrears in the community. And so we send notifications to 3 out of the 4. One of the persons that we didn't send, of course, is that for you, because we want to know very clearly with Victor, what is the situation? Have you paid already everything that you need to pay or not? And so we just sent to 3 of them saying, look, we have until the 10th of March to make these payments. If not, we'll start the interest calculation, which is not 10% per month, which is getting me very worried, because I hope we didn't do it 10% per month last year, and then we it's 10% per year, which is a completely different amount, obviously. And so that will amount to the debt of the 3 people we have communicated. But until now, I must say that there's no big problem in the arrears in Leeward Point. So this is another thing. The other, so I have changed and I sent on the 12th of this month the budget. So you have here, I know it's a small copy, but it's there. So I will propose the approval of the budget. I sent in that email exactly the changes I did according to the recommendations that were done. Like, once again, I want to say it again. This is an operating budget. It doesn't account for building 1, 4, and Clubhouse. And by the way, there is in that note. It doesn't account for the flooding expenses or the inspection of the 50 years. All of these needs to be considered special projects, special assessments, and they are going to be financed 1 or 2 ways, or the combination of the 2, with the reserves we have, which right now it's like $330,000, and a possibility, obviously, of another financing, because we cannot do building 1, 4, and Clubhouse with $300,000. So for sure, we're going to need more money to finalize the work. Any question about the budget? This is exactly the one I sent in February, the V7.
We need to approve this, right? The budget.
Correct, but you normally do it at a budget meeting.
So there's a budget meeting?
There's usually a specific, meeting to approve the budget, and it's a notice that you send 14 days. And then after those 14 days, then you have the budget meeting and then you approve it. It just gives, I mean, this is a board meeting, so it's not technically considered a budget meeting.
Okay, it's the first time I heard that.
Of that?
budget.
I can find out if it would be allowed to vote on, because here's the thing, since the association doesn't know that this is a budget meeting, they just think it's a board meeting, you guys are gonna approve this, and if some people want to discuss the budget,
It's the first time.
They've
I'm
heard of
here
it?
to speak, but whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
We already brought this several times. Yes, we already brought several times, I think with you and also with Orlando, and nobody mentioned that, but if we need to put 14 days notice, we put a 14 days. And it's a specific meeting that we only can discuss the budget.
It's a specific, meeting specifically for the budget to allow the association to.
And I was asked Alfredo and Brian, because I've been in this community only by 2 years. You always had a budget meeting specifically just for the budget? Never heard of it.
No, but before also they did the budget. The month before they're leaving. So the new one is getting, the new budget was created by the old association,
Yeah.
which I always said it's wrong.
Okay, I can check in your condo docs just to confirm, because within your condo docs, it specifically will say when your budget meeting is supposed to occur every year. It's annual budget meeting and some specific.
And I think some people from the past, because I think what this November thing was, is that there's something says that it needs to be November. And we talked about this when we took over, there was no budget approved. And so we decided to take accountability for a lot of things and then decide on the budget along February.
Yeah.
I think this is also a question for Avi.
Okay, we can continue living without the budget, it's just, it's,
I mean, it's really up
It is
to
what
you.
it is.
Yeah, it's really up to you guys.
yeah,
That's just how it works in all other associations.
we can make a 5 minutes question to get done.
Concerning the budget, the maintenance fees are going to remain the same.
For now, what I intend here is for maintaining the operating as it is, yes. The problem is that this year has several costs that are beyond the operating. The one is the Delta in building 23, the other one is one for in Clubhouse, another one is not the inspection per se of the 50 years, is whatever we need to do regarding the inspection, which is question mark.
The reason that I am asking, because I'm going to go away.
Yeah.
And I want to pay in advance the fee I
Yes, yes.
So that's why I want to know if I am away. But if I am less, then you let me know.
No,
If there is
yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sure you'd be communicated with if there were any additional charges that would ever come to your account.
Very well, so I don't know, words, we went by the book, I don't know.
Let's send an email to Avi, ask him if we, if that's what we need. I mean, you can also ask Orlando and.
I
check
just
with him.
asked him right now, so.
Okay.
Gave it to me.
Then in the report, you're gonna find the several checks that we have approved. They're gonna be in all of the checks are there. And now to discuss and decide what next steps related to Baker. So we're gonna wait until tomorrow. After tomorrow, we have no explanation. I do a motion to send this statement from meeting to our attorney to defend it. I think you need to be defended there. So I think we need to send it to our attorney. Yes. 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 Because I need.
Can you apply pressure to Orlando tomorrow?
Of course, I would enjoy that.
Again, I value that.
He's an attorney, let him defend himself.
Yeah.
I mean, he did, if I could just interject, he did receive a letter from the management company saying, the payments applied and the payments that were due and on. He received it like a couple of days ago. I mean, is that not accurate or?
So this is what we need to know, because there was a payment that is referring by Baker, a huge amount of money.
Yeah,
That-
1,700 took him 2 or 3 months to deposit.
Yeah.
Or did
And
they?
it was fair to you the difference, or you.
It was a bill I got from them.
Okay.
I sent them the bill.
17,000, 1,700.
Yeah, 1,700 change.
And you have a canceled check?
Yeah, well, I have it in my account, absolutely.
Okay, we are asking for better clarification on that, because what I see there is that they charge more, but let's see what Becker is saying.
I can give you a copy.
No, of course. This is my concern, because what I see there is that there's an $8,000 then a deduction of, and I want to understand what they did there, you know? So we've been in the last 3 weeks asking for better explanation.
They move very slow. I was big.
So that's the delay on the stop, right?
That is the delay on the estoppel, yes.
It's the history of the payment and a payment discrepancy.
Completely. And what we need to know is that if everything is already paid, if it is or not, then there's nothing more to pay. So it's over. Or if it's not, what is the delta, what it still is there? Yeah.
You wanna get it.
No, completely resolved.
With the, with the sale of Mr. Douglas's unit, any pass-through association will be paid and the special assessment will be paid in full.
On the
Yeah.
day of the
From the
vote,
sale. That's part of the agreement with the buyer.
and presumably will be on the 29th. We hope it can go that. Just on Thursday, whatever day it is, close, you get the check.
Yeah, what he's saying is that the only thing,
The closing is the 29th?
We hope.
that's for the sales contract, the closing is February 20th. But the
They
only-
have scheduled for the point.
We have never
Do you have any-
scheduled anything on it before that.
No, but the only thing that they need from us right now is the
The
stop.
estoppel, that's the only.
The only thing pending,
The estoppel, you guys have received the application and the background check.
Usually there's an interview, a discussion, it's.
Right,
yeah,
right, we can't move forward without the estoppel, that's the thing that's back.
It's the same thing when I bought some house, it took more than 1 month and a half to 2 months. So we are now on the 26 or 27, by the way, and we are being told that it's in 2 days.
Correct, so.
That's not
it-
correct,
it-
it's absolutely not piece.
Well, yeah, the estoppel, we're waiting on, Orlando's supposed to be doing the estoppel, and the only thing that's holding him up is speaking to Becker about the difference in the, fees that are.
And also all the discussion that needs to occur in the HOA board regarding this process, correct?
Yes,
So we cannot be facing these 2 days prior to the closing.
they might not be able to close in 2 days, that's the problem.
But am I the only one that thinks like this in this product, or this is absolutely extraordinary for everybody?
No, I mean, from one side, we don't want to delay his closing.
But we need obviously to have all the information that is needed for this.
so.
We never.
Yeah, let me just interject in a second, so that way you're a little more clear. Mr. Douglas went under contract at the end of January, right? That's when we executed the contract. The estoppel was ordered approximately 3 weeks ago, like the beginning of February, the estoppel. The buyer's application for approval was submitted, like February 11th, February 12th, around there, like right before Valentine's Day. That's when it was submitted. So we're just pending all these items. I mean, the only thing pending to close is the estoppel and the buyer's approval from you guys.
Which you did receive the application and the background check,
But
correct?
the buyer,
And then we responded to Sherry, right, and then we haven't heard anything from her since.
Okay. So the only information you're missing though is,
What's all the information for a proper process? I'm sorry.
but what is it exactly you're missing? Because you have the application, you have the background
I
check.
understand that we need to schedule an interview. For
Right,
example,
yes, we could schedule an interview for tomorrow. Or,
Which-
you guys will
which
be here tomorrow.
they were waiting on that because it's full estoppel situation,
and what is this couple of situations or?
where we can't move forward with the estoppel
With
situation till we speak to Becker. Because that's,
She's also something we've been asking for probably the last 3 weeks.
And
Correct.
Yes. What I would say is that the timing is not on the board.
Mhm.
The board has been very fast answering all the topics. We are missing here information and we need to set a meeting after all of this information. It's not on our side. It's on your side, it's on side of Orlando that we've been asking for this information. So what I don't like to be put in is in a position, me personally, now I'm not talking about the board, about saying, okay, now we have 2 days to decide something without the information that was required 3 weeks ago. and being like the notion that I am the one that is stopping the process. I'm not stopping any process. We already did everything we needed to do 3 weeks ago or more. I can even see when it was done.
No, and
And so when,
I know Tiffany's been trying to reach Becker, but I think really the issue is Orlando, not. Cause when did we last speak with Orlando? That was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? And he's like, yeah, I'd have it direct in, I'm gonna take care of it. And we're 2 weeks further, and then he starts asking, well, what does the statement say?
So-
Which basically tells me he hasn't done anything with it.
Right, so what he said today, let's say he speaks tomorrow morning to Becker, to his contact at Becker, and he gets the information that he needs from them. Would you be willing to do an interview with the tenants? Because that's, the estoppel is the only thing that's lacking. You have all the other information.
we did the.
Or tomorrow.
Checks, everything is done.
All of that was said to you, yes. So that was, the only thing that was pending was the estoppel for them on their side, but the information that you need in order to move forward with an interview, you have that already. And have you reviewed it, or is there anything on?
Why was not in the email saying, guys, you need to set an interview ASAP because of the closing, etc. It's the same thing when you send, not you, but the other person from Primex sends the Becker statement, and suddenly we receive a statement that nobody can explain until now. So we need some guidance. I think if you need an interview with the board, just propose an interview with the board. Obviously, we are very flexible, we're ready to find a solution, probably.
Would you be able to do an interview tomorrow, like around the same time?
I'm not the decision maker alone of this board. I would like to hear my colleagues also about this.
And that's pending that the Becker situation is handled in the morning. So it's
Yeah, I
a
mean-
tentative interview.
I mean,
we can do the interview regardless. We can do the interview regardless of Becker or not, because, we can already do the interview before that, no?
You can, yeah.
So it's not that one has to come after the other. So actually, we could have done the interview also last week.
yeah, and to Joel's point, and that's where, when I responded to Sherry, and I'm not focusing this to you, but to Sherry, when she turns around and tells you she hasn't heard anything from us, and then I forwarded the email to you that I responded to her saying, okay, give us the process, give us, how do we schedule this? And I don't hear anything, then we sit there waiting for an answer from Primex, the professionals in property management to guide this process. And to me, it's frustrating for me, probably frustrating for the owner.
Well, we love the close.
Yeah, and for me, I was on the other side when I bought, my closing date was delayed, I think, 3 different times because of what Primex was doing, or not doing in that aspect. And so for me, it's a frustrating element that systems and processes haven't improved from other people in Primex to sort of say, here's the checklist of what needs to happen when someone is selling, when someone is buying. Board, here's the steps you need to take. And so now that I'm off my soapbox, going back to Alan's statement, we can't do an interview. We have that application file somewhere in my email. That would probably be a little bit different interview than what we just did for a renter coming in. But if we are able to do that timeline wise, but then yeah, on the sake of the seller, I want to do what we can. I don't want you to go through what other people have gone through. But for the record, it's
the process.
it's unacceptable. I mean, it's.
Okay, so let's be proactive.
No, we are being.
Tomorrow.
critical, because one of the critical things here is the process are one time after one time being jeopardized, everything we do.
And it's
So,
all by Primex.
this is very practical, and this cannot continue.
So the process, I'll just tell you from my other properties, when I do a rental or a sale, the process is as follows. We receive the application, we submit the background check, all that is done within 48 hours. After we get all that information back, we submit it to the board, and shortly after that, within a week, we schedule the interview. The closing and the moving in happens way after that. So this clearly didn't happen that way. But that is the normal process. It's supposed to happen in a timely manner. When we receive the application, that's what starts the time.
Let me ask you a question. On the other communities, do you work with Sherry?
No,
Okay, because I noticed, I'm putting it up there. I noticed that every single thing that goes through Sherry, she drops the ball. Am I wrong?
You're not.
Okay, so we are in now a situation, we're not happy with the service that we're being provided. And we realize, and also by Orlando's comments to me several times already, that Sherry is the one that drops the ball. So how can we make sure that she's no longer involved in our account?
you can request that she's
So
completely out of
are you guys okay to request that?
It was requested to be away since Tiffany was taking over, so that is the confusion that I always have, because Tiffany is the one that is now the point of contact of Leeward Point, not Sherry. But for every single detail that we have to go through, Sherry is involved, and I
somehow.
think that
Yeah.
this is a play that we cannot sustain anymore. Or it's you, or it's Steve, or it's Sherry.
Yeah, so I can explain a little bit in regards to that. She's the one who does the estoppels for Primex. So it doesn't matter what condominium, is requesting an estoppel. There's certain things that specifically go through her. If I could recommend that you.
But there are other things besides Sobel that I see her involved all the time. So,
My critics of Primex goes much beyond Sherry.
okay, but
Absolutely clear here, and that I could never say that Sherry is the only problem we have.
okay,
But I think we need to discuss.
can we make a motion to remove Sherry? Is that a possibility?
From using.
I suggest asking her to be removed from our account. We don't want Sherry.
Hold on,
To touch
you
anything.
represent, us. We don't have to make a motion, we're telling you, don't have involved in anything.
We don't want
that happen. We don't need to vote or make any, it's gonna be in the minutes.
Mhm.
Can you do that? Can you make sure she's not involved in anything in our business any longer?
I can, but here, the issue is I'm not the owner of Primex.
Okay, so I
Orlando.
tell the owner of Primex, that
Okay.
we're putting you guys on notice,
Mm.
that we don't want Sherry involved in anything related to Liverpool. Period. No emails, no nothing, zero.
Okay, I'll tell them.
Okay, please, and put it in the minutes as well.
Now, can we
Interview, we have a
interview?
meeting. We want to represent about a salary.
And what?
Yeah, I represent both sides.
My office. Okay. So the buyer can do the interview, he can come here, he can do a Zoom, he can do a phone call, he can do.
Probably it's gonna be a Zoom if we do like, if it's happening
Yeah, it need to
tomorrow,
be,
no?
By one.
The buyer, yeah, well, he's buying it under his LLC, but it's an individual.
Okay,
investment property or?
Well, you see, that's kind of to the debate because he really loves the unit. So he might end up, a second home maybe, but he is gonna rent it.
Very well.
So then the only thing you need from me is a certificate of approval for the sale.
Buyer.
Correct, for the sale of unit 2.
So timeline, are we available?
What kind of, we have to do what, before the 29th, but
yeah, tomorrow is the 28th.
so we have to do it.
Also, one more thing, that, Michael was suggesting. That's done in the past, if there's a discrepancy with the stop or what is owed, he's also willing to put some money in escrow. If you guys, while, that way Becker doesn't hold up the closing or hold up certain things.
Just move it along. And in my understanding, it's even in reverse. It's not that you pay less, that you pay more.
Okay, but that's good to know.
That's great. Which he's okay with the reimbursement.
Okay, so yeah, you will have no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want to do tomorrow at 5? Because it's 5.
5, we don't have the time.
5:30. This is what I'm saying, 5.
How do you guys do the interviews? Is it one person doing the interview or is it all of you or? it's-
Whoever can show up, I guess.
It's majority of people who can show up. There would need to be a Zoom.
You wanna go, so tomorrow 5, who can make it? No,
In terms of process, are we missing anything? Trying to understand. It's the first time as a member of the board that I go for, yes. For the people that have already been in the boards, if we are missing something. Because I cannot check the process.
That
I never,
doesn't exist.
yes. Do you think that we're missing it?
Well, we need to make sure that there's no, like violations and property that the potential buyer is inherited. It's no, address on the condo law, and then we probably might have an issue. But this is something, the standard requirement.
Yeah, no, that's like part of that's what's disclosed in the stop.
Okay.
Everything, any violations pending, any violations that Michael may have had, anything that needs to be corrected so that the buyer doesn't inherit this, okay, is disclosed on the stop, and usually, taken care of.
Yeah, but the association hasn't been able to see and to provide further information, further recommendation from
From primary.
And we have this topic.
the management. I don't think that they are.
The estoppel is completely done except for the one thing, which is,
Regarding that.
right, and that's the only thing that is pending,
So
so.
we have it in our computers, it was sent to us, so.
No, the estoppel, that's the only thing that's missing. We can't send an incomplete estoppel, so that's what that's what
But can we see the stop besides Becker?
Sure, I can ask for them to send
Yes,
it, yeah.
Well, you call them before.
I'll follow up.
Installing Becker in our.
I've been holding for the last, I printed the check, it took them over 3 months, and I sent it certified. Over 3 months before they finally cashed that check and turned it over.
okay, let's get to conclusions.
Okay.
So tomorrow, 5 o'clock or whatever time.
Can you send us the stopple draft before the Becker?
Yes,
So we can look at the stopple. Tomorrow morning, Orlando calls. If Orlando gives the green light to the complete stopple, we'll have an interview in the afternoon, but it's all conditioned.
okay.
We cannot do more than this.
No,
And we are just available once
But-
again from one day to another.
but it doesn't have to be conditioned.
Sorry.
It doesn't have to be conditioned.
No, but we're making it conditional that Orlando actually follows through.
Okay,
And at the end of the day, we are going to approve something with at least seeing the condition, the drafted stopple or whatever. It's the first time I hear this stop.
okay.
Okay. But you cannot do 5.
But we don't, so what is the proposed time right now for a meeting? Because we need to let the buyer know.
5. I would decide to do it even later. So if we have.
And I'm out after I have the meeting that we have at 5:30, I have to be like,
But everyone doesn't have to be there. It doesn't have to be the whole board. It can be.
Cannot, yes, we are just trying to be flexible, but at the end of the day, trying to be. Before 2? Before 2?
before 2?
Yeah, like, what do you, 30?
Before 2?
You have to ask the buyer, and I'll tell the buyer to rearrange. Whatever he has to do.
So what, like 1:30?
Yeah, like 1:30, it's gonna take that long. So I have 2 o'clock, but I can do 1:30.
Okay, you want to propose 1:30? You guys okay?
1:30 is the half hour I can do.
Okay, all right.
All right, okay, 1:30. You think it's possible to message the buyer?
Yeah.
And it will be here?
Here, or so.
Yeah, this is Zoom.
Zoom.
Okay, 1:30.
Your Primex organizes that?
Sure. So we are waiting for the stopple, the drop on, even without the Becker, and the call from Orlando in the morning to David Virgil to understand what is happening.
Correct. Yeah, because he already said that, whatever the difference is that is owed, either the buyer or the seller can
We need an
pay for it. So-
explanation for that statement from that.
Correct. I'm just speaking about in
I understand what you're saying. What I don't understand is why Becker is not sent us an explanation to us.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so just asking for tomorrow 1:30.
No, So we are waiting for this, decide next steps. So 911 restoration, my recommendation, we have probably a 15 to 18% discount on an invoice of the unit 15 from Surf Pro. I don't think that the individual prices are lower than the 911 restoration because they did obviously 12, 13 units at the same time. So at the end of the day, as you can see, Service Pro doesn't have the additionals that, but they will always have a discussion about, oh, they are cheaper here, so that's why they put additional things on the fans, etc., etc. So my recommendation, and I will put the hot topic here on Robert, is a nice call and say, look, Serve Pro has made us, for example, a discount of X. Can we negotiate a 10% discount over the 39 and we would close it in 1 week and we would pay? Thank God we have the money still. So that would be my proposal. We don't have a lot of leverage.
Yeah, we don't
of
have
the invoices we have received. So
Yeah.
one of them is 5,000, it goes down for 4,400. Even that one, if we divide by the number of units that were affected during the 911 restoration, it's still. So we try. I think the best thing we're gonna get is 10%. The worst, you cannot do that all without 5. So it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah,
So when you-
did you guys get a sense the lady on that call was the decision maker?
Yes.
Yes, yes. And she was almost ready to give it. She was almost ready.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll go back and,
She was ready to do something.
Yeah, she was ready. So I think the ideal would be 10, the worst case scenario 5, the always going.
So ask for 15,
do I get a bonus if I get 20?
Yes, you're 1%.
ask for 15 and let's hope for 10.
How much is gonna be the total?
The total is gonna be like.
Aiming for 35.
35.
35.
35,000.
For Surf Pro and nine.
No.
No,
That's for
911.
35 only for 911. Now we're gonna pay 4,400 for these. We are still missing now the last one for Ron's and Marcelo's
So it's gonna be about what, 50,000?
on the flooding. Just
Just the restoration.
Just the drawing.
Just-
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
That's the way. Then direct pay, value bank up, any additional money, so our neighbor that already paid everything, whenever the check arrives, it's taking out one payment for monthly pay, and all the remaining payment needs to go to value bank. So the deltas, the differences. And for now, I just know about one unit that paid all, so 11/12 of that needs to go to value bank. The 1/12 stays in the operating account. Because that 1/12 was already paid when we paid 6,900. Is everybody?
we paid twice, January and February.
No, yes, we paid January, February, yes. What I'm saying is because we started in March, the March one is there. And it's on our operating account because that is coming out on the 6,900 that we pay every month. Everything else, it's on top of that needs to go to value bank. It's an extraordinary payment that will reduce our loan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Do we need to do a motion about this or this is the normal procedure?
No, that's the procedure and that's what they tell us as well, valid.
Set meeting with Dr. Romano. I think now we are on conditions to talk once again with Dr. Romano. Is it possible to set a meeting from next week? Because this
Yeah,
week
because
is
you
already
wanted to do it on Friday, but you want to do it next week.
with Dr. Romano this Friday?
Well, the last meeting we had, we were saying that we were considering doing the meeting on Friday,
Okay, this Friday, okay?
this Friday, but if you want to change it for next week.
And then finally, it's not regarding this, I think we could have a nice workshop just to review the survey results like we had last year, so if you guys align whenever the storm is not as high, we could sit all together to see. By the way, our NPS net promoter score is now minus 33, so also it's important to inform the buyer that people are quite discontent with Leeward point at this stage. So very well.
I'm sure the seller is gonna be happy.
Yes. And mainly the reason is that there is a new renovation in the roofs and the project has been taking a long time and much more cost than was estimated in the
Next, what are we at, 5?
Property managers report.
So I know all, three of the accounts have been reconciled. I have the reconciliations here and they're also in Buildium. The one account that is not reconciled and it's due to what I was talking. You can give those to Joel. Those are just all of the accounts that have been reconciled minus the operating. The operating has not been reconciled due to a $9,000 deposit into the operating account, and it's not in Buildium, so we need an explanation from Buildium as to why that's not in there. What does that pertain to? We already submitted a service ticket to find out where that $9,000 came from. So once we know, then we can specify it in Buildium so that your balances match.
And the reconciliations will be done by the end of this month.
All reconciliations are done except for the operating. That's the only thing that's pending.
So I have two questions. First of all, we have 6 accounts and I only have 3 here.
I have the other 3 I left them in my office, but they're in Buildium though. They are in,
So, in that question I have is that we are still pending that payment for the tenants on the units 20 something.
22.
Yeah.
Is that, and it's Angela Rossi, yes.
Yes.
And I'm waiting for her to provide me with proof of the security deposit. She knows I've spoken to her on the phone. She's aware of that.
Because we now know that.
Yeah, she originally had said it was 5,000, but that was incorrect, and it's in the range of maybe 500. She's gonna provide me with a proof of security deposit.
What I see there is 1,850, which is out of the rent.
Mhm,
So there's a check of 1,850.
mhm. Well, she,
That I already sent you.
oh, okay, and you emailed that to me.
I know that,
Okay.
that is the.
Oh, I
in the process, it seemed like a deposit. But I was not even here in the board when the deposit was done. So
Right.
it needs to be checked, but it looks like it's 1,850.
Right, but that's just a picture of the check, correct? What you sent me,
Yes.
right? It's not showing up in the actual account is the issue. So that's where,
How do you close a process within Primex that shows a check if that check didn't go to the work point? So you send the process, and that process shows us as a check, but that check was not deposited.
because I wasn't around at that time, I can't give you a definite answer. What I can do is, I need to find it in the actual account. It could have been put into a different account. I need to find where that actual check is.
Does everybody understand what I'm saying? So there was a process to approve the tenant, one of the pages of this process is a check of 1,850 from what I'm doing right now, that check. We don't know if it was deposited or not, so we want to get from the tenant or from the homeowner, the proof that the check was deposited. It should not work like that. So if it
Was
was,
that public in 2022, 2022?
I have no idea. I have to see.
There in 2022, or
I think it was in 2022. That's when all of that happened. So that is something I'll look into.
without that information, it'd be impossible to actually reconcile the tenants.
It has to be when one of those accounts, I can look into it and see where that is and what I wanted to give to me was the proof that you emailed me that check. I don't know that that's what that was pertaining to. Okay, so I'll look into that.
and this
Well, I think
is
it's something about-
I took from the file that you sent me, and then there's a lot of things there. There's $100 for the background check, there's 150 for whatever. So I see also that check 1,850, and I said, bang, if the house was ready by 7.
But the problem,
So it must be the 50%, so I did that.
But this is the picture.
That is a picture, yes.
If you recognize it, they might not have given me like anything.
But it's a picture already of a process that was built by Primex, so Primex did that process. The
So-
process is sent by Primex.
So a tenant,
So that check is deposited.
So then it gives the deposit-
Like the process we see.
but I'm not talking about the
It's the same
deposit check. I'm talking about what Angela provided, because she paid the difference. There was an amount, a difference that was owed for the security deposit, and she paid that difference. That's the return, that's the security deposit that she's specifically talking about. Okay, well, I
And she
mean,
thinks it's $500?
she originally said it was 5,000, and then she said, no, it's gotta be around 500. So that's what I'm asking her to show me, because we don't have a proof of that. That's what she needs to send me.
Okay,
And that's the main thing that.
until she sends that, we can't.
I can't
Give
give
her
her
anything.
anything, yeah, until she shows me what exactly there's an email that specifically shows that she has agreed to pay the difference of what was owed for the security deposit. So it's not that 1,000, it's not that, it's not that.
Okay,
All right, number 6,
6,
okay.
unit 10 balcony.
All right, guys. So what's going on with that? This is, we've been discussing this and nothing is moving on that, so what is the decision?
My proposal is always the same. We agreed that we were going to talk with the attorney and we have a 10-minute conversation to understand what is the responsibility of the HOA. And I already sent an email to everybody, a message to Robert about it. We don't know if it's only the railing, if it's the railing in the floor, or if it's nothing. So it's important to get just the need, because these can multiply by all the railings that we already have in the community. So we need,
So what information do we need to provide our lawyer?
it's very simple, it's this process. So there's a railing to substitute, there's a floor that has been
But there was
damaged.
a report done.
There was that.
There was a report done by an engineer for unit 10, correct, Alfredo? I'm sorry?
Is it the vertical?
There was
It's
a,
the railing of number 10 that is now not only being loose, but is also affecting the floor.
Okay.
The question is, do we need to pay for the railing? Do we need to pay for the railing and the floor? Or do we don't need to pay for anything? That is the main question, because if we assume any type of these three options, this will be replicated in any of the other railings that were substituted. So it's very important that we have it right. So we don't have these multiplied by 15 or whatever number of the railings that go.
I thought, be able to supply on, but I thought that if there was any improvement made in a limited common area, that it was no longer the association's responsibility.
but apparently the improvement, according to the previous board,
Was done by
There's
the.
no-
was done, the railings were changed for 75% supposedly of the community
And
by
already,
the association.
yeah. And
But the difference is that in unit 10, they changed the tiles in the balcony. And when you change tiles in the balcony, according to some kind of report that was by an engineer done, water came in there and caused the corrosion of the railing. So the corrosion of the railing supposedly was done as a result of water intrusion under the tile, which was not original.
So what, so,
That's again, a question for the lawyer.
so
No,
are we responsible for any of these or not?
Manny,
The original is aluminum. So what the water has to do? The corrosion of the aluminum.
There's no corrosion, you say.
No, it is.
No, but this railing was changed.
Okay.
And I don't even know if it's a.
So there is no corrosion of water and aluminum.
But it's above our pay grade.
Helen, from your explanation, I would say we have two options, or we don't even call the attorney and we say we don't pay anything because it was not our responsibility, it was the floor, like you explained. Or we, and my recommendation would be not that, would be to make a simple question to the attorney, telling the story in 5 minutes, we don't spend a lot of money, and then ask, okay, what should we do as an HOA?
Do we have the report somewhere?
I think that the report is being done. I thought that we already, the report that they actually did it for the rating, on this particular rating, where it showed that it's a rating that doesn't comply with the law because it's actually 6 inches wider. And I mean, I find it really hard to understand that if this is a project, but which, by the way, it was done for the 75% of the condominium, so why we are looking into the wrong rating, which is, you know, like 6 inches wide. So are all the 75 ratings, the 75% of the ratings are exactly by that? Because
That's
otherwise we're going to be against the law, against the regulation, because the regulation said a long time ago says that the pickets, the distance between the picket should be no less than 4 inches where a ball can go through. So that's exactly the reason why we needed the report to pass it on to the lawyer, to the attorney to look at it. I mean, I find it really strange that now at this point, the previous board are making the knowledge that it was a repair that we did for field railings, but I mean, are we complying with the regulation?
Other unit owners, Ana Law Beach, for example, she says also that there was a replacement until the unit blah, blah, blah. So it looks like there was a replacement over.
Okay, but I mean, shall we actually, like go and double check? Because if that is the case, so then all the railings are not up to code, because that particular one shows from the engineer that
is an easy one.
It's not up to standard.
When I understood the thing of the 4 inches, I went to my railing to see how much it was. It was 4 inches. So we can go to the railings.
Well, I mean, if you see on the report, that range shows that it's 6 inches, 6 inches. So, I mean, he needs to look at it to, to that report standpoint, but also by the law and what is completely, allowed.
Yeah, but regardless of the compliances of 4 inches or 6 inches, okay? The reason the homeowner came to us was not because of the distance between the railing, was because she felt that the railing is not secured and can fall. So that is the problem. The fact that it's not compliant according to the code right now, that's the secondary problem, which I would not start digging into it now and checking all the units, because we don't want to awake anybody. My suggestion. So just let's focus on the problem. Are we changing or fixing or resecuring or replacing?
That problem comes from the floor and not from the railing, and the floor were not.
Correct. So that's the question for the lawyer.
No, that really is there with the as well. Oh, with the
Vertical. We'll just ask real quick tomorrow.
Yeah, let's
Move on.
Okay, all right, so this is,
Unit 11 insurance claim.
okay. We know what it is, so it's a no, and we need to decide about what we do within unit 11. It was a no.
And that's basically whether we need to repair the drywall.
We need to repair the driveway.
So let's repair the drywall.
Let's repair it.
So.
The only question I do is that we spend $150,000 in insurance, and I know we should be very grateful to have insurance. But if we have insurance, just whenever you do a claim, they send us a letter saying.
But do we have the reason why they
Do, because the roof is old.
because the roof is old.
The roof is old.
So that-
I'm not saying that it's not a specific word there.
So why did they insure it?
That's a good question, and that's why I also send an email to this board to fight back on the insurance, because on one side is because we are doing with the wrong roof. On the other side is because the roofer is wrong. The other side one is because
Where
the
is
windows are open. So yes, I'm very lucky to have insurance. If the insurance, every time we knock on their door, we invent something for not paying anything. We have insurance. So I think we need to fight back, and I already also talked in front of all.
Well, but we need time and we need to take a decision, because this is going on since October last year, so. We make a motion to do the fixing to.
How much drywall does it have there? What are we talking about? Do we have an estimate?
He say that he's gonna probably submit some estimate, but he's.
Well, NV5 comes Friday. We can ask them to just look at that real quick.
I second this, yes. And it's only for the drywall, so at the end of the day, it's substituting drywall.
Yes.
No, it's on the ceiling.
It's on the ceiling.
Yeah, the whole ceiling, like.
All right,
Friday.
so that's NV5, unit 41.
Parking behind,
We spoke about that, yeah, and I have the draft ready, along with the draft of the other, 4 other unit delinquent owners that owed a very minimal amount. Like 99 cents, $100 was another one, so those I'm gonna send you tomorrow, so you can just review, and once you approve them, we can send that out.
Guess what, the letter for the parking?
One is the letter for the parking behind the trash, but then the other 4 were for delinquent unit owners that owed a very small amount. Yeah, it's just an adjustment,
make your next payment.
right? 99 cents higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
23, follow up on multiple incidents reported.
What is that? Huh?
What happened was, like, follow up on the case, because the case of unit 41 And the case of unit 43, it's not.
What's 43?
It's the 2021.
So this is for 23.
23.
What it says here is 23.
23.
Well, 23 regarding of, the unit on the corner. 21.
21.
Oh, okay, so I think that was the situation that happens while I was away, last Saturday. I think it was the path removal, the mat removal on the gym.
Ah,
That
okay.
you guys find out something.
Yeah, I spoke to her. I told you that, no?
Then she said
Orlando.
Not Orlando,
Alfredo. She said
Alberto.
Alberto, but I think she confused with Alfredo. No, Alfredo.
Well, I guess I wasn't here. She actually sent me a text message. I couldn't open because I was traveling. And when I arrived and saw all this, like outrageous situation, I say, well, I tried to speak with you, but you weren't available. I'm not the one authorizing anyone to take any equipment or any material from the gym and not need to be safe. And I think that people need to have not only common sense, but also trying to get the regular channel of communication, because there's a management here that actually channels everything that happens on the, yes, because in my understanding, the reason that they actually make this action is because the mat were having some sort of a sign of mildew or something, and she wanted to commit a good action and then take it and clean it. But I mean, this is not the right way of doing it. They need to actually report to the management, because if that, God forbid, is something that is harmful and they get, we have to give it the benefit of the doubt, and we need to actually, approach these to, the most civic,
The kid says we borrowed it and we asked, and we asked somebody in the board and they said fine. And then when I spoke with the mom, with the tenant, she told me that, oh, it's just that there's mildew and I exercise there. So I asked Alberto, she said, if I can take them. And he said yes. And so we took them to clean. That's what she told me. Anyways, misunderstanding. I don't know if we should start making a big deal out of it. Let's just move on.
Is there anything you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. Then we're good. The mats are back.
Cleaned.
And clean. Yeah, but actually, to that point, maybe.
Regarding what follow-up, it's just something that I need to understand from Primus, because there's few incidents besides that really needs to pay attention, and I see that here we haven't follow up on that. So I really want to understand what happened with the follow-up on unit 40, 41, and also unit 4020, because for me, that was a really a wrong move and a very, wrong situation where I myself was caught up into an incident that really needs to be prevented. So I need to understand why, if we do all the due diligence to understand and to, portray the case, why we don't send the letters and why we don't follow up. Is it really, something?
So hold on, so let's be specific. So you're talking about the incident with unit 21 regarding the plans, and you're talking about the incident unit 41.
No, not only the plans, the harassment that he was making, and all the picture that it was documented and sent to Orlando, back in January. So I didn't see any letters. I didn't see any follow-up on that. And also,
did we ask for a letter?
I think that there is a lot of documentation already that we already sent that we're gonna follow up. Right? Okay.
I don't disagree. I just don't remember if there's anything, if we asked to send a letter. But regarding the parking lot, we did ask, you said you're gonna send it tomorrow. And regarding unit 21, the situation that, I don't know if that occurred just last week, so I'm not sure that.
Was that the incident with the gardener that was cutting a tree?
Yeah, but we actually have to put in place the regulation that we had before, especially with the hedges. because it happens in two opportunities that the gardener is doing, his job, he's actually cutting the hedges the way they needed to be cut, and then all of a sudden that comes to a problem that has to be addressed by the management, not by the unit owners. So I think in those two cases where my property and my persona is being threatened because I was working with the people on the maintenance, trying to come up with mediation between what happened. So I cannot, under any circumstances, be supporting the management by being fronting them and confronting all the unit owners. So for me, this is a case that I need to actually, raise it today, and like it or not, we need to take some action because
What action do you want management to take with this? Let's just say for this particular person with the hedge
first of
situation.
all, we actually have a ruling place for the hedges and it's to be cut. No, in the maximum height is 6 inches. I don't have hedges, I have palm trees. So second of all, people need to understand on the limited common area, so the hedges need to be maintained to that level. And there is a gardener who actually do this job, and we need to communicate, and that needs to be clear, because it's not happening that all the time we forget and somebody's gonna do it, then they come to your property and do some harm and do some damage.
Do you know how tall they were? Like the limit
Well,
is 6
if you
feet?
actually go to unit 21, you can see that it's more than 6 feet. It's already 8 feet tall.
4 feet is the rule, right?
No, 6 feet. 6 feet is the max.
Really?
Yeah, the hedge.
Okay.
So the gardener went there, saw that it was taller than 6 feet, cut them down to 6 feet, and then the owner got mad.
Well, in this particular case on unit 21, the hedge is not only growing tall, it's growing also wider. So it was actually blocking part of the sidewalk, and he decided to do the cutting because he wants to do the alignment, but he didn't even go to the top. And that's what I understood, that this whole situation happened when he tried to cut the hedge. So it was big back and forth with the gardener, so he actually was threatened, and I was outside, and I was, like part of the problem also, because, like he was basically, saying things to us in a like nice way, and I tried to.
So here's what I suggest, because I agree we need rules and regulations. But I also want to protect our gardener who's been here a long time. He understands the rules and regs and how shrubberies and hedges should be. If he notices something that is 8 feet, 9 feet, and the standard is 6 feet, he should notify us, the board, and management should send a letter to the homeowner saying, just so you know, next time gardener's here, your hedges will be cut down to 6 feet. Because that way, it's not the gardener making that decision, it's management notifying the homeowner that the gardener is doing that.
But we need to make sure that we remind all the unit owners about the rules and regulations, so that's why we need to, bring it back to.
And I would have another thing, which is every time is to cut a tree, we need definitely communication, exactly on this alignment, and give the possibility of doing anything, like grabbing the tree, putting back, etc. I think if we improve the communication, and I'm not justifying what happened afterwards, but I think if we improve the communication already, I have an opportunity to talk to you about this. I think part of these things are again,
the cutting tree happen only once a year, and that is completely notified to everyone that the person is.
There was a tree that was cut. There was a palm tree with like 4 things, and one of them was cut. 100%. And this tree could have been like put with a rope or something back. I'm not saying it was possible, but at least giving the possibility of doing it, because there was a tree that was cut. Not the entire tree, because it was like a palm tree that divides into 4, but one of the 4 was cut.
I don't know, but I just think that not for everything has to be rules and regulation. I mean, this has to do with common sense and with temperament of people. You can put all the rules you want, But that person is gonna find something and he's gonna jump. So we cannot continue rules, regulations, rules.
Right.
regulations.
That's why communication is.
My point is, let's have, if the gardener's coming in and cutting down someone's hedges and the owner was used to that blocking the sun, for instance, and all of a sudden that's blinding in their place. I could be upset if without warning that's being done. So that way management sends the notice saying, bum, bum, it's going to be cut to this level next time, and it's.
But do you really expect our gardener to know, hey, Thursday, I'm gonna be cutting this shrub and this shrub and communicate to us, and we communicate to them based on the
It
letter?
doesn't do it often. It doesn't, this type of intervention is not that often.
It's not enough.
It's not often.
Alright,
Often.
So to me, it's more protecting the gardener from interpreting
Yes.
rules and just have them be the execution.
No, because I did experience that. I actually was exposed to all these threats and I think that it's not right. This person is working for us more than 35 years and we need to have some sort of a respect. And he knows his job. Of course, he needs some guidance, but I mean, it's no, it's
Exactly.
for anyone that the hedges always needs to be cut.
A
So-
letter, and if you want to propose
Yes.
a letter in color.
So the same situation, follow up on the letter on the tenant or the person who actually access the gym with the master. So,
That, I would also notify the homeowner,
but
because there
Did we
are a
follow
lot
up on
of,
that?
there are a lot of problems right now being reported about that tenant. So I think we, in that case, we need not only to report to the tenant, but also report to the unit owner.
yeah, the editor should know.
Should know, there's a lot of.
There's other issues with that?
Sorry.
You mentioned there are a lot of issues with that tenant.
Yes, I had a possibility of talking with Edward, or Edward told me his life stories, etc. So we need at least notify that there's the gym and other things to say, look, we want to live peacefully in a community, we'll live all together, etc. And just give a word to your tenant
All right,
about this. I think it's important.
okay, so basically, we need also a letter to, Conejos.
Yes.
Mhm.
no, but for the pet is another,
No, the pet is something else, we're talking about right now.
That is in between us.
And this was the
Oh,
incident that occurred in January.
Okay.
That's for the incident that happened last week. with
I'm
the chief.
talking about this as well, because that incident happened.
No,
And there was
but they're tenants.
another unit
The ones
owner,
that-
Marcela was moving.
We can take exactly the same
mat?
form
The
that
man,
we have with
the
this
chief, the floor mat,
to whatever.
and so without not signing.
Okay,
It's just the same form. Any tenant
said
that
they
we
got
have in the
approval from the
community
board
needs to comply with the rules and be polite to the neighbors, etc. And from what you told me, this is not what it's. So what I'm saying that the same thing can be applied to them is like saying, informing him that, okay, we live in a community, etc. He has right now a tenant that probably enters in some kind, I've never seen that again, but.
Do you ever send warnings, like warning notices?
No. No, I would say a friendly.
It's communication, it's.
Friendly reminder.
I don't want to be the school principal, calling every single one person into my office. I want us to be like, hey, in case you didn't know, here's, you know, this, that, whatever, this is going to happen. We're
Yeah, because-
communicating that to you and, yeah, and now we move on. Done. Because I think that's right, you know,
no, and that report was actually done by a neighbor that actually complained, make the formal complaint, so we as a board.
Follow
need to
through on that.
follow up and then need to take, whatever remediation.
so we good on that?
And I
Okay.
think that based on that, we needed to address the rules of the gym,
Oh,
which
yeah.
doesn't include the pets. So
I
that needs to be
agree.
included. You included it?
Are there rules that are posted in the gym right now?
I'm sorry?
I don't think so.
There's no rules posted in the gym? Are there any rules posted in there right now?
I think the master ruling,
Is
I think that we forward to you and we can probably add it and include the pets are not allowed on the gym.
Yeah, the only rules for the gym that I saw were in Buildium. Those are the ones that I noticed, and that's what I added. No pets, I think it's in this. Or I gave that to them, but I emailed it to all of you prior to this meeting, and I just added, it was rule number 16. Absolutely no animals allowed in the gym under any circumstances.
And if it's a one-page thing, we can just put it up on the
I
wall.
would just suggest you have in the gym somewhere
Yeah, laminated.
a laminated.
Well, the thing is that we've been actually doing a compilation of rules and regulations for all the areas. So we have rules and regulations for the swimming pool, we have for the playground, we have for the tennis court, and we also have for the gym. But not all of them are combined or actually have, talking about the same subject. And the pets, it's a common sense, but on the gym, we omitted to incorporate it. So that's why I say there's no pets allows on the gym. So I can bring my pet whenever the hell I want. And that's exactly what we are missing. Or either we combine
Yes.
all of that for the
If we
clubhouse
post
or.
it there, then we're good.
Yeah, I did, I sent it to you guys, trying to make sure that word was fine. It's in the last email I sent to you, and it's, bullet point number 16. Absolutely no animals allowed in the gym under any circumstances. That's the wording. If that's fine with you,
Let's
you
do
go ahead and post it.
Yeah.
Post it in the gym.
Okay.
Number 7, 50-year recertification update engineer selection. So we received a letter from North Miami Beach. Leeward Point is up for 50-year recertification this year. We need to select an engineer to go through the full checklist that is quite extensive, go through the whole community, and then provide basically their findings that we submit or they submit to the city of North Miami Beach. And the North Miami Beach, based on those results, either comes out, reviews the items, different things there. But this is something where we have to have the engineering firm in place. My initial recommendation is we have NV5 coming in starting this Friday, looking at drywall damage and beginning to look at water damage from what has happened through construction projects. We pared down the scope because initially they included that in the scope of work. We pared that down. My suggestion is we see how they work, how they operate, and then we can quickly and easily add that in if we see that is a company that is doing the right work and move forward from there.
But if we're talking about large amounts, shouldn't we also bid or at least check other 2 engineers that provide the 50 years certification?
Is there and I'm good with that, is there a threshold dollar amount that?
I mean, legally, we don't have to do it, but it's just the right way to do it. That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah,
I would suggest, let's see how they work. At the same time, let's make a few phone calls, get a few engineers that do that type of work, and see, give us a proposal. I mean, at the end of the day,
We sign up for a recertification process because it's not the city who's going to give us the report. We need to provide the report through an engineer, and a MB5 is the engineer that is going to do the forensic part of the work, but also work with us on the recertification for the 50 years.
did we hire them for the recertification?
Yes, and
that part was delayed.
okay, well, we have a project manager, a point of contact, and which I already spoke with them today. And they told me exactly all the procedures that we're gonna have because we have until April 2nd in order for us to get the report to the city. So we have only 4 weeks and we need to start working in this process. So they need to do the final recommendation in our structural and also our electrical, and that needs to be done. So why we gonna start working around and chopping around when we already have an engineer that is doing both things for us? I mean,
I think your point was, and that cost roughly, this is not a contractual amount, this is roughly what they said, is that it could be between $12,500, $20,000 for the recertification process, give or take. Now, the question is, do we find a different engineer that does it for 8 or 9? And
Because at the end of the day, and I might be wrong, this is an external engineer that gives a report to the city, so it's not with them with us, it's between the city and them. And then the city accordingly will give us their, what we need to do, if there's anything that we need to do. So maybe in a case like this, cheaper is better.
Because we only have 4 weeks until April, and as all we know, and we are about to communicate, there's other things that we need to focus with our major. I would keep it as is, because at the end of the day, we have 4 weeks to turn this around.
exactly.
So if we have, even if we're gonna save 1 or 2 or 3,000, which I don't know if we're gonna save it or not. Because one of the reasons for the NV5 is at the same time they were coming here to see the dry walls, the roofings, etc. Now they have synergies to develop all of these. So I think there's a lot of synergies between what they are doing right now and the report. I'm not saying that there are.
No, but they
cheaper
also
ones.
provide us with the.
I'm worried that the next weeks are gonna be.
They actually provide us with the scope, so we need the structural engineer, which is going to be on site for about 2 days. I roughly estimate that it's gonna be between those 2 days, 4 hours as a maximum, 2 hours per day. And the electrical engineer that is gonna have 3 visits on site, which is, I believe is going to be as a must, 6 hours a day. So with the project manager, I think that we can have a control of how many hours are they gonna be on site, because they need to actually do all this inspection. Not only at day, also at night, because they need to do all the photometrics and they need to actually double check that. So for what she told me on the scope of work is that they already are on board on what they needed to do. So then we need to pin down exactly how much this procedure is going to be, because the main point, the main ticket of the 50 years certification is the electrical part, which is already being done. When I don't think that we're going to have a problem, and the structural, which is, have to be with the roofing and all the things that we're doing right now.
So it sounds like you're saying they've already started the 50-year certification for us.
No, they are going to, because today I already, touch bases with them, and they are already, ready to go. So your point, it was coming on Friday to do the forensic part?
drywall,
Okay,
they're only coming in to look at the units damaged by water intrusion.
okay. So they are coming after we give all this information, because they need to actually look at the structural plans and the electrical plans before they move. But it's gonna be a good opportunity to understand exactly what we are doing with the current engineer that we have on site. Because for me, that's
And when I spoke with Tiffany today, and Orlando said we might probably have the floor plans and elevation plans in the room over here. So if we can look at those tonight, if they are there, then that would be helpful. Because Miletus.
Miladies. Is that my lady? Milady.
Miletus.
Well, the current engineer that we have here must have all the plans for the ongoing mansard structure, because the engineer wants to look at it, at all the details that are happening around the mansard. So the electrical, I already called Johan, which is, like the representative.
Right, but just for Friday for each unit, she wants
Oh,
to.
he's talking about the structural.
That's a different part.
He's talking about structural. I saw there are some blueprints over
So
there.
we just look later on.
Okay.
So again, and my recommendation, and I get your point, but I would argue similar to what was said, that there's synergies there.
All right, if they do a good job, and let's do it. We're gonna.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we have it on our plate.
that they might find findings that may require us to fix and repair and other elements that may have additional expenses.
But they give you a broad range, 12,000 to 25,000.
Yeah. And they wouldn't go fix it. They're not it's not a business model like, oh, you need to fix this. We're gonna find as much because we're gonna fix it for you. It's not self-incentive. Yeah.
Just an evaluation. So do you know why they weren't able to kind of pin down a little bit closer to revision?
It's like, we haven't been to your place. We don't know the state of affairs. We really having just to look at it. And it's not just the visitation hours, it's the back end. And the checklist is,
Big.
So
yeah,
let's do this. Friday, let's ask them to, hey, now that you get into another community, can you give us a more exact estimate of how much the 50-year reciprocation would be? And then it doesn't cost anything. I don't mind picking up the call and calling a few engineers just to be in the ballpark. If the difference is $2,000-3,000, I think let's just go with these guys. But if the difference is $15,000, make sense? So let's ask them this Friday to give us a more exact estimate by next week of how much the reservation would cost. So at least we have a, a starting point. And again, I'm not against doing it with them. The opposite, I prefer to do it with them. Just that I want to be mindful of,
yeah. And on a side note, she is coming Friday at 9, needs maximum half hour per unit. So I said building 2 will be 9 to 11:30-ish, giving a little extra time. Building 3, 11:30 till there's 4 units in 3.
You said 9 to
9 till 11:30.
30? Okay.
In overall, did we share all the documentation that you have in Google? Because that would be interesting for them.
yeah,
I have,
The reports, all that.
we have videos.
not yet. This isn't the forensic part yet. This is straight up drywall.
Okay.
Do they go, so they're not gonna go on the wall, on the roof?
Not Friday.
Okay,
Because even for the drywalls, it would be interesting for them to see some videos and understand if the owners took or not more of the drywalls they should, etc. Just
Right.
Building 3?
11:30 to 1:30. In case of unit 25, which already remodeled the whole entire living room or the.
Yeah,
the
we
whole
don't
house.
pay for the full drywall.
But how can you estimate how much is the
I believe we have some pictures.
okay, so they are gonna base on.
And if not, then we would, if there are no pictures, then we would base it on the industry standard, which I think is 2 feet. Ground up, you cut off 2 feet to replace that, to fix that. I mean, she chose to go and replace it all.
okay.
Is there anybody gonna accompany them? Or-
I'm trying to,
I mean, I'm,
Friday,
Just so I can put it in the notice, so, a board
a
member.
board member will be,
Okay.
yeah,
yeah, I'm available until maybe noon.
okay. Number 8, items fixed, so we have, the shrubbery with the board out here. I forgot if that was already cut or not. And then we have the palm trees.
Next to the
The
parking.
insurance company took a picture of basically unit 10, that those branches need to be cut.
Unit 10,
11, sorry.
11 is
Alberto.
Alberto.
Yeah, those palm trees are right on the side. The
I
pic-
thought that the photo was a palm tree that was next to building 4 and next to the garbage. I might be
Was it-
wrong, but I think it was
Okay.
that.
I was thinking it was, but either way, if our gardener comes this Saturday,
But he doesn't go, he doesn't do that.
We need to hire that company that comes.
Yeah, there is a company that
Okay.
comes once a year, usually in July, to do all the palm trees cutting of them.
okay, then that would be too late.
Yeah, so that's, we need to bring them here.
So,
Somebody called? I think that he did it for the camera,
what?
ever.
Oh, yeah, you cut it a little
Do
bit.
you think it's possible for everyone to?
Well, if it's not too tall, probably I can ask him, if he can, like, he have some equipment that probably might. Is that one particular spot that?
Yes.
They only
Show
showed
the
one
pic-
picture.
Okay, show me the picture and I probably.
I think it's the one that is right next to the garbage. It goes on the side of the
I
building.
thought it was the one in front of unit one,
11?
one. The pantry that is, close to.
All right, we need to
We
get
just look at
clarification.
that picture and wherever that is, we
Let's
just
get
need to take
clarification.
that exact same picture and show that the things were cut and it's
And
solved.
how about the railing? The railing is all good, right?
And then,
Yeah,
his railing is good.
But Diana,
Marcelo fixed it. Marcelo fixed
Yeah.
it right.
We just need.
but I don't know if they even refer to Diana or to Marcelo.
No, it was Marcelo. It
No, no.
was all-
Marcelo was all like this. So,
They took a photograph of that railing that was broken.
but it was both in the same photo. And Marcelo's is the one that had these gaps. The other one, only one missing.
I think there's.
I don't think they're gonna come back for.
No,
for-
Marcelo because it wasn't to code and Diana's because it was
Was broken.
broken, exactly.
So we have until. From what I remember on the updated thing they sent us until March 2nd to fix those things.
I say, I took a photo of this. I said I just sent them the photo plus the photo of the tree.
Send the
And that's
picture,
it.
that's it. That's exactly what we did last time.
And
You don't have
it's
to
still not, I don't know how to say sold out.
Well,
sold.
Well,
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 uh-huh.
is it possible for him?
Got
No,
no, you need to actually find somebody who will actually do that.
is to put a metal thing, must be.
we can put it
No,
on
it's
there.
aluminum.
So.
We can put it with scotch tape and take a photo.
I think we need one person to take the lead to make sure those things are done because of the deadline is coming up.
So you're talking there on Friday?
Yeah, Friday, ever is coming on Friday. I probably will, if he's able to do it, definitely, yes, I will.
You take the.
I will-
door and-
I have the photo.
Okay,
Okay,
and should we at least try to mend something that is raining?
at least for
For
pictures.
pictures, once people there, like, no, because they're, if they pick it up, they wanna pick it up. The truth is, the insurance company sends something to pick it up and so.
Okay.
They're gonna
So-
get the report and they.
And then we need to send that to Peter and Peter sends it to
Yeah,
the insurance company.
okay.
And
But Diana didn't fix it, didn't.
I was waiting for.
it's absolutely broken, so.
They did it. It go-
But in the meantime, I think we can do some epoxy glue and.
Yeah, so that is important. That is a specific deadline that we cannot be late on. Let's keep going. Maintenance updates, number 9.
Well, for this week, I think that we were able to work on the gym based on the situation that happens. So Carlos was focused on cleaning the whole clubhouse inside, this room, the bathroom, and also the gym, clean the equipment, clean the glass, everything. So he
And the
focused
floor
and
under the.
and the floor, yes, remove everything because that day was raining. So he took, the whole day, to do that. In the meantime, we are actually painting the entrance and it's a long process. And right now he finished one section. So this week and Saturday, hopefully, if it's not raining, he will complete the other part. And then we're gonna move along the wall that is along the pool area, which is kind of like some sign of mildew and we need to pressure cleaner. But so far, everything is all clean, is all pressure clean. And the wall in the back of the playground is all painted. And I think that you mentioned something, Brian, about pressure cleaner, the deck area, which I didn't.
No, in the common area, the sidewalk on the back, there's this big piece that looks like it has a bunch of white paint. They just got splattered on it.
But do we usually pressure cleaner on that area? Because remember the last time
Yeah.
I was
there's-
having an issue with going to the deck of somebody that he probably.
That was me, yeah, the Prius that went to cement. stained the deck, and they didn't clean off the deck, they only cleaned off the.
But do you think that this is feasible to do that, you know, in that little
I don't know, it's a really small spot, it might be easier just to paint over it and be done.
thing? Okay.
And by the way, can we remove from the tennis court
Yeah, definitely. That's a
the
plan.
flags?
No, definitely. I really want you guys to see exactly what is the condition because I haven't been able to remove it. And by the way, we need to make a plan because it's not like we need to do it. We need to contribute here to move it. Okay, because there's no maintenance people here, only Carlos, and Carlos has so much in his plate.
But to remove it, it takes a minute. I mean, if you want, I'll go.
No, definitely. You know, we can actually make a plan. Not only that on the tennis court, because those things are already ripped off. And the point here is that we already have the solution based on the parameters that we have, because we cannot actually do anything that is more expensive than the solution that we already saw. So are we going to leave that once we take it out all exposed? Because, I mean, people are in the amenity and they actually have the right to be on a place that they are completely contained and not exposed to the street. I mean, I would be really embarrassed to bath in the pool and then see the people on the gas station, you know, like see my bath. I mean, sorry, that's not. Yeah, no, the ones that I actually provide and that we make a call from was with they call it half moon, which actually have the air ventilation. But not only that, the tennis court also is completely run down. So we need to take it out. We need to, you know, like clean it up. And that was 1,200, including the taxes. So he actually helped on this offer because he said, well, since you already as a regular customer, so I can probably hold it for you. So it is for you guys to see, to assess and to determine whether if we need to actually approach to that. And also, you know, like provide the same solution for the tennis court because the tennis court looks like run down.
So I'll do a motion.
But before you make a motion, I want to understand. When you bought it, I remember you bought them. How long ago was that?
It was 3 years ago.
Okay, so they lasted about 3 years. That's, you know, so we have now.
And for $1,000, between 41 units, what did that represent? Like less than what?
No, but regardless of the money, if you look,
$25?
if you look in the tennis court,
No, the tennis court also needs to be also addressed.
let me finish. You have west and you have east. On each one of them, there's the green, the old one that is there for over 10 years. Yeah, that one is in good condition. It lasted more than the 3 years of this one because the bottom is much stronger. So I suggest, let's take the one that is facing that building, the one that is facing the offices in the back, and let's put one against, you know,
Between the pool and
between the pool
The
and
length
the
is not
other one.
the length is not the same.
Okay, but at least we have, or put both of them in between.
And this is transparent, sorry. I mean, we can
Both of
actually,
them are transparent.
exactly, but we can actually do that. The one that we put on front of the pool house, it actually have 85% screening, so nobody can see it from the other side. So the black ones that you are mentioned from the tennis court, definitely we can move it around, but I mean, no, not the green. They are like a black. So we can move it around so we can, you know, like buffer a little bit more the fence that is nearby the gas station.
Yeah.
But for the
Okay, but I'm saying, okay.
but for the pool, you cannot actually, you know, like address this with this sort of material.
I'm just saying, at least we have something, so we can put that in, like you said, you know, next to the
That
gas
to
station,
have.
next to the gas station.
No, definitely. We can reuse those on the tennis court, but I don't think that we are gonna use this in front of the amenity of the pool because I think that.
No,
this
that's
is-
exactly, it will look at
All
it.
right, so well, I agree, at least we agree on that.
Okay,
So I would propose, we have a lot of expenses this year.
yeah, and nobody plays tennis beside me, I think.
Seen and unseen expenses. I've been out there a couple times.
Okay,
And I'd rather, even though it's not ideal, I'd rather delay this conversation on that, maybe another week or two until we have a greater clarity on the roofing, the engineer, the 50-year recertification to sort of see how all those dominoes fall.
I agree.
And not that I don't think it's not important, it is
I think
important.
it's very important, Robert, and I think that we cannot only laser focus on one issue because the amenity and people deserve to be on a better environment. Because of we are focused on something doesn't mean that we actually neglect the other part because we are doing a lot of work in order to keep this place up and running for everybody to enjoy, because it's not only the part that we need to address on the recertification and on the case. We need to give the people the commodity that were deserved. Because of you thinking that this is not important, I think that this is very important for everyone.
I don't think what you said was it's not important. You said it was important. It's just the wrong timing and we need to reprioritize the smaller projects until we
But
get.
Ryan, we actually
When
talk about.
the house is burning down, you don't go and put a new,
But we're,
in your back.
but we are fine.
The house is actually burning down.
No, definitely.
And well, all he's saying is this is not the priority, and I agree with that. So he said a few weeks, we talk about it again, but let's
In
see.
January, we talk about it, and that's exactly what my point is across that we can delay it, and then, months and
Well,
months.
Alfredo, we've had other priorities that you guys have been working on that are expensive, and we need to find out what those expenses are gonna be before we repave the roads or improve the tennis courts. All he's saying is let's delay it. I agree with that. We can delay it a few weeks.
No, definitely, but I just wanted to keep you guys in mind because it's not only our problem, it's the whole community that we need to serve and we need to provide,
And I think I think that you're serving the community by taking care of the priorities. That's where you're serving them, and that's where they need us to serve, in my humble opinion, not getting a better tennis court at this time. Down the road, absolutely. I'd like to change.
I never talk about the tennis court, by the way.
Or-
I just talk about the screening.
The screening, okay.
It's something that is
Well-
not even.
Well, you did talk about the tennis court, both. But it sounds like he's okay with waiting.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's get to the last part of the conversation.
Wait, but hold on, but regarding madness, that's it? There's no more?
Oh, yeah, you were still on.
You were with the maintenance.
Maintenance, I think that was the main thing.
Do we know anything new from electrician, Mega, the camera?
No, not yet.
Okay. Last couple points, and I'll wrap these all together and I'll talk a little bit about them. But I won't necessarily go into full detail, and that is, this deals with the Duralast materials here, deals with legal updates, construction damages, homeowner claims, and status of roof project, and the lien placed by Fort Dallas Trust Company. So all those things together, a brief update. We, through our lawyer, have sent an email with a deadline to the roofer to provide us all documents relating to contracts, insurances, and licenses. That deadline has come and passed, and we have not received anything from the contractor. That being said, we had two members of this board had a conversation with the lawyer recently. Therefore, there was not a quorum, and therefore, as you may have seen, there's a closed door meeting with our lawyer tomorrow, which we hope didn't provide confusion between this meeting and that meeting. But what we are doing as a board tomorrow, discussing with the lawyer, is discussing next steps and strategies to implement right away. I cannot go in greater detail than that on that point, but that is addressing the fact that we have not received documents relating to licenses, insurances, and overall contracts signed with Leeward Point. A flow out of that down the road can be a couple different things. But what we are addressing tomorrow night with our lawyer and as a board is discussing and agreeing upon a very specific course of action in a very pragmatic and tangible way with the general contractor who has been working on the mansards on buildings 2 and 3. So I would like to go in more detail. I don't think it's prudent at this point to do so until we have a clear sort of strategy or play roadmap that we discuss with our lawyer tomorrow. However, looking at that, we believe a couple different things. We've used January and February to go through massive amounts of data, information, misinformation, disinformation, managing the different stakeholders that are vendors of or connected with Leeward Point. And what we see in this element is we are starting to turn a corner and going into action. And what that means is the first example of that is NV5 coming this Friday, looking at drywall damage, doing a forensic analysis of water intrusion, 50-year recertification. Those are all things providing insurance so that we are not cut off by our insurance. And we've changed the lawyer firms already and discussing with the lawyer tangible steps to take with the general contractor, and those action steps will be implemented virtually immediately after the conversation with our lawyer, following day, that type of timeline. So all that to say is, as we go forward in this process, what we are wanting to communicate to the community is thank you for your patience and understanding as we have gone through mountains of data and information. And now that we've gone through all that, there's still a lot of questions. There's still a lot of unclarity, and there's still a lot of gaps of information, of he said, she said type of scenarios. And what we are doing is going systematically, very pragmatically through all of that. And for us, that first step was changing the lawyer, which we already did. Second step is this conversation with our lawyer tomorrow. And then also to provide some clarity for homeowners who had water damage. NV5, which is a specialized forensic engineering company, is being here this Friday to initiate that process. The question marks that still remain. We have $125,000 of materials out here. And Alfredo has been working with Duralast, that's the company there that manufactures that. And we are trying to get clarity as to whether this is completely destroyed, partially destroyed, or still usable.
Yeah, what happened with that refinery? Because they suggested it might come this week, Duralast, but the roofer doesn't want to come. Correct? Okay,
So
so
how do we have that, that notification?
what?
I forwarded an email to all of
And
you.
he immediately said no, that he's not coming.
It's not available in the near future.
Yeah,
He said that he's not available. Okay.
Okay, so
At least
what I suggest regarding that, there's a moment where we need to be a little street smart. That's reality. So I suggest, that's what I will do, is,
one second. I talked with Alfredo today. He gave me a second part of information that is, that I didn't know. And that is Duralast said, can I speak or?
Sure, yeah, you can.
Alfredo, in speaking with Duralast, they said two possibilities. Well, the first one is, Absolute Pro needs to be there because they're the official, customer or, yeah, customer.
Okay.
The only way that cannot happen is if, I think there were two, there might have only been one. They're no longer our general contractor, then they could come and meet us in person.
So may I recommend that we have tomorrow meeting with our attorney, that some things are going to be decided, and after that, we take next steps.
Okay.
And by the way, we are open to questions and comments from the homeowners.
Yeah, anybody has any questions, concerns?
I have a question about the buyers review tomorrow on the Zoom. That'll be, the link will be sent to,
I'm gonna send it to you.
you just sent?
Yeah.
Can I give you my email?
Yeah.
You already have information, 1:30 is good.
1:30, yeah, it's right.
I did get confirmation, and you do have to have your own specific budget meeting in order to vote on the budget, which if we were to do that 14-day, if we send out the notice on the 29th, which would have to have the proposed budget for 2024, the fees per unit, and then also the budget meeting notice, those pieces of information need to be mailed and emailed to all the owners. And then the clock starts 14 days after, that would be March 14th.
Can you email us that tomorrow? Because I'm not gonna remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then whenever that, all those documents are ready to go.
I remember that they did, that was done last year as well. But we got the
Yeah,
budget.
that's just, I know that's the process for budget meetings. I know you guys might not have done that.
But they did in November. What is that?
The air conditioning unit, of the,
Did they rip that out?
no, it was a Sunday, so I don't know if anybody was working there. And they fixed, I don't think so, this is.
Did they damage it? They
That's
damaged
in
the
the
roof?
Okay, believe.
That's your.
No,
So it's gonna be.
That's why. Yes. I mean.
Yes. Buyer. I have a drawing. Video about it.
I'm sorry. I need to know.
Like, our heads or something.
Including my condition or consent.
The understanding is that there's, so that's what is considered, limited. So it's the association.
Oh, guys, we
have homeowner questions.
Yeah.
One second.
Okay. Make it.
Yeah. I recognize.
Last thing, so Michael, he's gonna get, the letter that he got from Becker. He's gonna get also checks and everything, and then what I'll do is
So-
I'll give it to you.
Following
You guys can have that as.
that.
So maybe. like-
And we talked about this earlier tonight, I don't know if you were here, not your specific scenario, but there's rules and regulations where hedges, the bushes or whatever, can be maximum 6 feet. 6 feet tall. If it's taller than that, then at least what has happened in the past is the gardener saw that they were taller than 6 feet and levels them off. The thing that we discussed tonight is that the gardener goes around, he goes, cleans, mows, whatever. And if he sees that hedges are taller than 6 feet, that he notifies Primex, she's with Primex, the management company. And they would send a letter to the owners saying, hey, just so you know, the hedges can be maximum 6 feet. The ones in front of your house are 7, 8 feet, however tall.
But in that letter, did not.
No, what I'm saying is, That's what we discussed tonight.
Right, but in the meantime, it was done in front of my unit and it looks ridiculous, right? I'm not happy. So what do we do about it?
Okay, I can probably say something to
Well, I just
Gregory.
want to know who has authorized this action without my consent and me being absent.
I think what he's saying maybe didn't go by, so we don't need your consent to cut a rule that we have in place.
But you need to.
Brian, let me just tell Gregory, the reason that we actually did this is because, first of all, your ficus is a ficus benjamina that have actually fungos and have white flies. If you notice, I know that you are going back and forth, your ficus was completely died, exactly the same like Marcella. It's actually, like having a contagious fungus, and your shrub, it was having like few holes with a dead plant. So I'm trying to cooperate with you, watering the plant, but the plant need a fertilize. I actually went with, I think Heber explained, with water and soap in order to get all the fungus that are attached to your plant. Because if you see right now, there is many plants growing in and they're actually asphyxiating the ficus. So what he did, he trimmed it, and of course, I'm 100% agree with you. It doesn't look really good, but spring is coming. I'm guaranteeing that this is gonna come back and it's gonna grow from the very bottom, because what we're trying to do is to keep the shape and to keep, healthy. Right now, the way that it was growing, it was completely wild, and the fungus, it was completely eating inside, and you have a big hole that I can see through your window. So for that reason, Heber went ahead and cut it to make it even, but I know that since it's not even, like well maintained, the roots are growing really thick. So he needs to cut a little bit more on the trunk in order for make it a little bit more disappear. I know that it looks really bad.
It was totally fine for me.
But it wasn't.
So this had nothing to do with the height.
No, the height, it was a little broad, but I mean, since we know
No,
that.
it was not more than 6 feet.
No, I mean, your window, the height of the window is the height of what it's supposed to be, and it's
Exactly, it was not higher than
But
that.
Gregory, what we're trying to tell you and explain that the top of your ficus, it was having like 2 big holes and it had fungus. I can show you exactly what it was because I was with them and I actually sprayed it with water and soap. So that's exactly
So
one of the
I think
reactions.
it looks better than it was before.
But it's gonna look, I can guarantee that in less than 1 month, it's gonna start growing back. So that's exactly, and one of the things that we didn't communicate with you because we were trying to, like to go around. Don't get mad because that is.
No, I'm not happy.
Well, I know, I understand. Do you think that this is going to be something that if we will do something in purpose, probably, I will agree with you, but I mean, we
You
didn't.
gotta understand my point.
No, that's.
What if I'm gonna go to your property?
But you did
and
already.
Come and cut your.
You did it already, and you know what is the difference, that yours are gonna grow, mine are not, but it's okay. What I need to tell you that I'm your neighbor.
No, you need
and
to consult with me, okay, before you do anything on my property. Okay, that it's out of the question.
No, yeah, I know that it's out of the question, but first of all, in
Now,
order
I'm
for you,
happy with what I have.
I know,
So have your gardener to fix that, right? I'm not happy. I'm not gonna leave it like that.
okay.
Now, the point is that front part isn't your property.
Right, but this is everybody's right, but I'm not happy with what I have. Okay,
I hear
so if you go by the rules, most of our frontage are not what it's supposed to be. So let's not to go there. Okay, now, second question is, why am I being bothered with parking my car behind my unit?
That's not a
Wait.
parking spot.
1 second, you're right. But based on the survey, this is area made exclusively as a limited common area for my exclusive use. Look inside the survey.
I will actually.
Thank you. And before you do that and put that on the agenda to send me a letter, you should do that first. And then you and anybody else coming and bother my son, why is he parking behind that garbage area? So please do that before you do bother my son. Please, because he You got
I don't
everybody.
think that we buzzed your song. I think that there was some
Yes, we did.
miscommunicating, and I explained to you that day when we were working around out the cameras and your song came all of a sudden because Gregory, you need to understand that you have already like 6 years here. And all of a sudden, we understand that you have a common limited area that is not assigned to parking because this is a green area.
Fix this first.
Oh, no, definitely.
We don't have enough parking in winter. You have 3 cars, he has 2 cars, everybody
You
has.
have two, and you have.
I have no place to park, where do you want me to park? I park, I don't bother anybody, so let's not bring the subject at this point. And look at the survey before you start this subject. Thank you.
I have the server right here. I can check it out.
Please, you want to do this now?
Yeah,
I have it here in writing from the previous board of directors, because I
I
requested.
have the survey.
One
And
second.
I'm not questioning you by that. I'm just
No.
saying, let's do it.
Guys, listen, I don't want to be bothered for no reason. I voted for you here not to be bothered to me. Now it turns against me.
I'm sorry, you voted for us
One second.
because we are making it.
I don't know that yet.
Oh.
We're gonna figure it out. Hold on.
You don't voting with us,
No,
just to be bad.
I'm not happy.
Excuse me, sir, can you lower the heat down? Because this board of directors is civil and we don't scream at each other. So can you just lower it down a little bit?
You got it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I do appreciate it. We don't need.
One second.
This is not the old.
I requested that from Mr. Mark Antonio, the president of the board.
Mark Antonio?
One second, that was when he was the president.
Always work with Mark Antonio. So don't tell me that, Gregory.
Look at the date.
Rules.
August 27, please.
Have a problem.
Sir,
This is not a common area, it is not a parking area.
says decide the design as your limited common area, see the survey here. The survey shows that, okay? And it's for your exclusive use, like private, for your unit only.
I have it here in big. Okay,
A private use, that's the first time that I heard that.
Let's
from
look
somebody.
into this, sir,
all right.
sir.
Do you have the keys to the room?
Yeah, I don't know here, I have.
Okay,
Let me
so-
take-
so let me-
If you won't find it, I think Laura has.
Can
Okay,
you just
so-
make it smaller? I just gotta compare it with what I have.
The,
But I do think
the drawings.
Thank
that
Okay, so just so you see, first of all, this survey is before they change the parking lots. See, the parkings were like this in the front,
Right,
and here there was no garbage.
you're right.
Okay,
But regardless,
this is, so this is, so
problem
this
is,
is.
now it's on my area. The garbage house is actually moved
But
over
then, but
on
then,
my,
okay, but then the change, okay.
the prop is for
see what I'm saying?
No, I see what I'm saying,
sales.
but your parking right now is on the front,
We have a checklist.
not on the
that
side.
you should
Right,
have.
but I have 2 cars and I have to find the parking. Considering what we have here for years.
So
I mean, I understand, I mean,
We asked for that as well, like,
because
Where do-
you,
we don't know.
yeah, you should. So I'm gonna.
here's a survey from 1998.
Should it be in the property?
Sale, the property rental.
Yeah, it is.
If there was an exclusive right given for a limited common area for parking, it would be
There you
the
go.
sale of the property. wouldn't it?
There you go.
It bothers me. Well, whatever you get frustrated.
So here, okay,
No.
right here,
Going on.
this is no parking right here.
We're not talking about parking. I can use this area for my own.
No, you can't. No, you can't. Legally, you cannot,
to,
period.
Okay,
I mean, I understand you're my neighbor, I love you, whatever, but I'm telling you the facts.
it's not, you're not talking about parking. We're talking about that I can
It's
use
not.
this area
No, you
for
cannot.
my exclusive use.
No,
It says that there.
Well, there's a lot of roles.
Excuse me.
there we need to, you know, like-
you are unit 41,
Yes,
right here, okay? Very good. This is also still when the setup was like this, okay?
Okay.
This area here right now
Okay.
is the side of the garbage, which is not a parking space. Here, there's an handicap space. And here behind, okay, that has nothing to do with you, and it does not belong to you, and you don't have any rights to it whatsoever,
Can.
period.
it's right here, not here.
But even here, this area here
That was
was
before
changed.
that.
Was that you who said? you next-
This is before, this is 1998.
Right,
Okay, that's what it was before.
but that was
But the things change and also the rules change. And when you do a new survey, the disaster area of the city, and we do the changes, it changes everything. The board, listen, the association has the right
Are not.
to change the common areas, okay, if everybody agreed on that.
Not after I bought it.
This was done before you bought it. What are you talking about?
Okay, let's see when it was done, because that showed as I just,
Are you here?
with you.
I'm gonna be here.
Listen, that space was never yours, it's not a parking area, and it's never to you.
Like, all trying to be here Friday.
So if you wanna come to this, if you don't wanna come to us
You would.
and say, hey, hold on, and say, hey, I don't have parking because of all this. Can we temporary, blah, 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 we are open to listen. I mean, I can understand you as a fellow neighbor because there is a
That's common sense.
Of course, there's a big problem with parking.
We scan it all.
But the big problem is when people take something that is temporary and decide that it belongs to them. That is a problem. And that we cannot allow.
Let me tell you something.
You know, here.
If we're gonna start with who took one spot in this property,